Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, the show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and today I want to take a look at this Steam Deck. This is the new hotness, the new handheld thing that's going on right now. Now, I haven't put too much time into looking at the details of this, so I'm going to do that today in this video and kind of give my thoughts on it as we go over it. If you don't know, basically Steam Deck is made by Valve, the guys that own Steam, the big storefront that you probably have most of your PC games on, and they announced that they've got this lovely spinning picture here that's going on and around this thing here, which is a handheld PC device similar in vein to the Switch, but designed to be play a lot of PC games basically. So we're just going to go over the overview. So it's an all-in-one portable gaming device. And we have a good video here showing off them playing Jedi Fallen Order, which looks pretty good. I don't know what the... we'll get to the specs on it anyway later on. So it's runs with the latest AAA games that run them really well. That's weird that they've put Steam Deck runs the latest AAA games and runs them really well. I mean, it's a portable PC, I'd hope so. Fun, full fidelity controls, long play sessions, no compromises. We want nice, versatile. You can connect to peripherals, throw the picture onto the big screen, and do all the other PC things you'd expect. We'll get to that then. Your Steam library is already on your deck, so I guess you log in, your Steam library is already on there. You can just play them. I guess you have to install them. Power on, sign in, play your Steam games. Yeah, cool. Steam without compromises. So it's just like to be fair, there's a nice UI for that, looks pretty cool. Features you know and love, designed to fit in the hands. 3 storage options, 64 gig, 256 gig, and 512. That seems, I mean, unless you're just playing indie games, that seems really small. And like, this is coming from somebody who owns a Switch, which only had 32 gig in. I think these ones are probably the ones better for it. So that's got 64 gig eMMC. That's got NVMe SSD. Faster storage carrying case, community profile, NVMe, faster storage, premium anti-glare attached glass. So you're getting a bunch of stuff with it. I'm really shocked to see this one. This is like £100 more. So they're all £110 more. Is that right? Yeah. I think like an indie machine, that's probably quite good for it, but I'm surprised that they're only putting the NVMe's in these and not this one. I guess that's to like get it down. Speeds and feeds. Take a look at the inputs, internals, and other details and make up your Steam Deck. I will have a look at that in a minute. Alright, so let's go through, let's start with the hardware. We partnered with AMD to create Steam Deck's custom API, optimized for handheld gaming. It is a Zen 2 plus RDNA 2 powerhouse, delivering more than enough performance to run the latest AAA games in a very efficient power input. Alright, so we got... This is what it looks like. I wish I could stop this thing from spinning. I will go and look for like pictures in a minute. So what we've got decent looking face buttons here. These analog sticks look decent. These are the track pads that you can use mouse on, and that D-pad without using it looks way too high. Looks too like raised. So I've got a feeling that D-pad might be a bit naff, but we'll see. I won't know until I use it, but looking at it, it's very smart. Looks like it's got good grips. The L and R buttons look decent. What are we saying about the thumbsticks? Capacitive touch sensors built in to provide a level of precision and comfort not found in... interesting. So those buttons, and you can probably move. These are slightly movement based. They do look like good thumbsticks, to be fair. Triggers. Analog triggers to provide a full range of input for the best experience, especially in our driving games. So that's really important, I think. We see this with the Switch. Unfortunately, it has digital buttons, but I actually prefer analog triggers, so that's good. These, on the other hand, look... I can't tell, they look very like clicky, very into the console. And then there's some extra buttons at the back. It's like you can assign those buttons to whatever you want it to be. And there's 5, so there's what, 4, 5, and then 2 on the other side. That must be 2 and 3. So I don't know where 1 is. We've got a touchscreen on there, 7-inch touchscreen. Type and swipe through the Steam UI with Deck's capacitive multi-touch display. Trackpads play PC games that were never designed for handheld with increased precision and customizability. Trackpads also give you a competitive edge when playing fast-paced FPS games. Do they now, though? And it's cool it's got gyro as well. With an IMU and capacitive touch thumbsticks on board, Deck helps you aim better by physically positioning the device. You can achieve more precision than using thumbsticks or the trackpad alone. So they're giving you a lot of options. No wonder this thing's... And there we go, we've got a video of the guy who's playing Doom, using the trackpads and the gyro in this, which is interesting. It looks like Doom would be really fun to play. So it's got fast storage. So we've got the NVMe, the 60 different sizes. I still think 64 gig is kind of tiny, but I think the other two models seem fairly decent. Hi-Fi audio, Steam Deck's stereo speakers pack a punch. And I tell you what, whoever wrote this, wrote this in an interesting way. An embedded DSP provides clarity and a wide sound storage for immersive listening experience. Connect your favorite headsets or use the onboard dual microphones to chat. 40 watt battery. Inside several hours play time for most games. For lighter use cases like games, streaming, smaller 2D games, or web browsing, you expect to get the maximum battery life of approximately 7 to 8 hours. So if you're playing something like Control, if you're playing something like Doom, you're getting like 2 hours out of this. Like, I don't see you getting much more of it. It's just those games suck up energy. So if you're doing a 2-hour commute, this thing's going to be pretty good. Expandable I/O, single USB-C jack, is multi-purpose, used for charging peripherals or even throwing the game onto a big screen at the same time. Any USB-C hub can be used to expand your options and get official dock when it was released. So that's cool. You've got more options. You can pretty much plug things into it. Wireless. Wi-Fi keeps you connected to the world, and Bluetooth allows you for a wide variety of wireless peripherals, controllers, headsets, blah blah blah. And then they've got the built-in suspend resume features that a lot of games are doing now. Alright, software-wise. Now this is cool that it's pretty much linked, once you log in, it's linked to your Steam account. Which obviously needs to be in. It has a very, you can see from this picture here, it has a really nice sleek look to it. You can search by the looks of it quite easily, and it's basically your library, and then you can probably get on the shop and buy stuff. On your home screen is everything you love about Steam in one place. Home is where you'll find all things you need. Dive back into games whether you were playing on the Steam Deck or your PC. See what's new in the library. So there we go, we've got Steam Chat, so you can still chat to people on there, push of a button. Remote play, Steam games from your home PC directly to your deck. That's useful, that's actually quite nice. All notifications are now one place, so you can check in. Nice. Store, so yeah, you've got the entire version of Steam on there. Cloud saves, so that's good. That's cloud save. People don't realise how useful cloud saves are. Like, they are probably one of the biggest things that's happened in the last sort of 5 to 6 years for gaming. They've become a lot more prominent. And then you keep it with friends, news, and all the latest too. Steam. And here's someone playing. I don't know what that game is. I mean, it looks a little. Yeah, it looks a bit like Baldur's Gate 3. It all says there. Whoops. It's interesting seeing them play on that. So yeah, you got once you've logged into your Steam Deck, you've got the entire library there. So that's cool. Just if it's that simple and that works that easily, that's really good. Steam just works on Deck, no matter what you prefer. Thumbstick, trackpad, touchscreen, or mouse and keyboard, it just works. Nice. Oh, new Steam operating system. On Steam Deck, your games run on a different operating system than the one on your desktop PC. It's a new version of the Steam OS built with Steam Deck in mind and optimized for handheld gaming experience. Interesting. It comes with Proton, a compatibility layer that makes it possible to run your games without porting work needed from developers. Oh, interesting. I didn't think about that. Because these games, obviously running on a PC, you need them to run at different operating systems and different spec levels. So for Deck, we've vastly improved Proton's game compatibility and support for anti-cheat solutions, working directly with the vendors. Okay, so that's really interesting. I didn't think about that. The fact that, you know, this is going to be able to play, hopefully, everything that's on Steam. Hopefully. I imagine games will have to get patched, or might get patched for that thing specifically. And do wishlist stuff. And let's have a look at the tech specs, because now we can have a proper look at this thing in blueprint form. Like I said, I think the D-pad looks a bit naff, but the trackpads and the thumbsticks are really what you're going to be using. This will probably just be the open menus, unless you're playing 2D games, in which case. But that's going to be kind of weirdly... The D-pad is weirdly far apart from the buttons, unfortunately. but I guess that's why there's back buttons, because you'll probably be using the back buttons on the top ones more than you will be using the ABXY. There's our L3 and R3 are there. Got a menu, got 2 different mics, and it's a nice big screen. The Steam button, your speakers, quick access, that sounds good. Volume controls, headphone jack, Type-C port, power button. There's a fan. Hopefully this thing doesn't get too hot, because it's packing quite a bit of oomph, I think. Micro SD slot, and then there you go, 4 and 5. Oh right, it's 4 and 5 on both sides. Cool. Speeds and feeds. There's an AMD APU, Zen 2, 2.4 to 3.5 gigahertz, up to 48 gigaflops. The GPU on a what? Oh, okay, yeah, GPU. R&D 2 CUs, 1 to 1.6 gigs, APU power 4 to 15 watts. This seems pretty. I mean, this is if you want to compare it to another piece of handheld device, another gaming, then yes, you could compare this to the Switch. This is going to have much better specs than the Switch. This already sounds pretty decent, to be fair. Like, I know that the Zen stuff's pretty good. The GPU I'm unsure of, but I mean, it clearly can run these games. So, yeah, like looking at that, I'm like, well, this is already a much more of a monster when it comes to like other handheld devices. It's got 16GB LP DDR5 onboard RAM, dual channel. I'm not sure what LP DDR5 is, but 16GB RAM seems more than enough, so that's really good. That's like a good amount of RAM. And then storage, you've got the same numbers again. It tells you what they're stocking it with. Alright, cool. Game controls, buttons, D-pad, triggers, bumpers, yep, thumbsticks, haptic feedback, yeah. Trackpad, square trackpads with haptic feedback, 55% better latency compared to the Steam controller, pressure sensitivity for configurable click strength. That's a good point, we'll get onto the Steam controller later. 6-axis gyro, and then it's a 1280 by 800 px. That's really weird. Why isn't that just like 1280? But I mean, it says 16 by 10 aspect ratio, but I guess it's widescreen then. If 16 by 9, I assume would be 1080 by not 1080, 1280 by 720. Just seems a weird number. Type optimally bounded IPS LCD for enhanced readability. 7-inch diagonal, which is good. Brightness 60 refresh rate 60 Hz. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. What we're looking at on the audio. Cool. Nothing. A lot of this stuff isn't going to really make much of a difference until you actually get the thing in in your hands. But it all seems pretty decent. The battery is going to be the most interesting thing about this. Nice. You've got decent support for the micro SD. So. Now this is the official dock that they're releasing, isn't it? DisplayPort 1.4, oh, that thing. Excuse me. HDMI power in Ethernet. Oh, that's cool. USB 3.1 and then 2.0. Cool. This is quite nice, but this is going to be expensive, I imagine, when they eventually send it out. Yeah, I think I was just curious about the developer part of that. No porting required, so that's good. So, overall, I'm going to let this sort of spin around here while I give my final thoughts on this. Overall, I think this is a really cool device. However, I don't know if this is something that I would personally buy, and the only reason I say that is my PC games, I have a fairly decent PC and I play a lot of stuff on that, and in terms of like console, I have a Switch that does you know, plays all my Nintendo games, my exclusives, and that is a handheld device. Now, I don't use my Switch in handheld form that much, to be honest. I see the Switch as a console first, and then a handheld second. So, I think this is a really interesting device, and it's a really cool device, but it's not something that I think it's gonna sell. It's gonna sell well, but I think this is more of an extension to people that already play a lot of PC games and want a nice piece of kit, you know, to either plug in externally and like beam games to it, or you know, maybe travel with it. But this is bigger than a Switch. This is quite a hefty piece of kit as well. Like, This isn't going to be light. This isn't going to be as compact. I mean, as long as you've got a case with it, it won't be so bad. But yeah, I think this is for more people that already have and play PC gaming. So I don't know if this is something that's going to be picked up by your regular like Xbox or like PlayStation casual or even a Switch casual fan who just wants, you know, kind of a more plug-in play experience. I'm not saying they wouldn't want something like this, because the good thing about this is having access to Steam. You know, and if you've got a big Steam library, you can now like play that pretty much anywhere, and that's really cool. But the other big problem is Valve, and we know Valve like to drop their hardware quite quickly. I don't know if people remember, there was something called the Steam machines, which was a real cluster because they were made by different people and they had the Steam logo on it, and they were meant to be like, I guess, like easy PCs for like people to just get into it, and then that never took off. We had the Steam controller, which is a good controller, but they seem to have dropped it now. Like, it doesn't seem like they're supporting it very much. And then there was I think Steam Link was another one. I can't remember exactly what it was, but Valve just don't seem to have a knack for keeping up with these things. I think they kind of move on to the next thing quite quickly. Now, obviously, with the rise of handheld gaming, you know, in this day and age, this makes sense. I think this makes sense from Valve to make something like this, but I don't know how well it's going to do. Like, I'm really curious to see how this sells. Like, I would love to be able to get one, but £349. I can't afford to drop that on something that isn't, you know, I can already do all this stuff on my computer. Yes, like being able to play all this stuff portably at much higher specs than something like the Switch would be good. But I just, this is something like, if I saved up for this, this would be nice. But this is very much like a luxury item in that sense. I mean, not that a Switch isn't, but the Switch lets me play like Nintendo first-party games. I can't do that with this. Whereas my PC already does everything this does, and yeah, obviously I have to sit in front of my PC pretty much unless I beam it to my TV. But you know, like this has a place and it's convenience, but I don't think this is something that I will personally be picking up. But I would love to get hands-on time with it to see what the controls are like. Especially, is it comfortable to hold? What's the D-pad like? What are the trackpads like and the analog sticks? You know, and the R1 and L1 as well. It'd be really interesting to see what those are like too. But yeah, honestly, I think this is a cool piece of kit. I think it will do well, and I don't think it's going to be like absolute barnstorm, like something that maybe people think it might be. But all in all, it is a cool piece of kit, and I think it's one of those things that'd be nice to have. But I don't think I'll ever end up picking one of these up. And by the time I make that decision, it'll probably be discontinued. So. But yeah, that's just my like thoughts on it. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out, and hopefully, you know, if I get a chance to play one, I can give some, you know, feedback on that when that time comes. Anyway, that's going to do it for me today then, guys. Thank you very much for watching, as always. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, then hit the subscribe button. Links for Facebook and Twitter will be down below in the description as always. And until next video, I will see you then.